Should we give Kris Bryant one more chance? How good is Ronnie Mauricio? Join us today as we talk about must-add players to win your fantasy baseball league on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you do that for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel, also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, most importantly, subscribe to us on the Subtext website. Through Subtext, it's a in-depth personalized experience through text messaging, updates right to your phone, and this is the time of year you don't want to miss out on anything. So join us there on Subtext. One of today's sponsors is Jace Medical. Once again, today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. As always, let us be your team secret weapon as we talk about must-add players to get you that Locked On Fantasy Baseball championship. And Matt, let's start with one of our favorites. He's back and he's looking pretty strong.
Yeah, let's talk about Mr. KB Kris Bryant. Everybody's probably tired of us talking about him, but at this point, he's a value for starters. For the rest of the week, he's at home, which means big upside being in Coors Park all weekend long, going in with the power. I love it. A little bit of a tough pitching matchup tomorrow going up against Logan Webb, but I'm still rolling him out there for the second Logan Webb comes out. Kris Bryant is probably going to mash. We all know what the upside of anybody hitting in Coors Park. Now, Kris Bryant, healthy after returning from the finger, already got a bomb ski, 3 ribs, 2 runs, and batting .375 since he's been back in 8 at-bats. I love the upside of Kris Bryant. I love that he's coming back right now. I beat Dom to the punch in both leagues that we're both fighting to get into the championship this week. So we know we might have 2 locked on championships going, we're hoping. But anyway, Kris Bryant is somebody you need to add just based off of the upside, the power numbers, the ribbing numbers, and hopefully the average to go with it. Because if Kris Bryant's back, baby, it's going to be limitless. Your mic is muted, my guy.
Oh, sorry about that. So, yeah, Matt, great take on Kris Bryant, our boy. We were preaching about him coming into the year, and he's 47% owned on Yahoo right now, so that's more than half of leagues where he's available. Matt, he even hit a home run today, so, he's been moving around the lineup 4th, 2nd, and 3rd. If he stays in that 2nd and 3rd spot, I really like that. He also had 3 runs today. The upside is very, very high. You don't often find a player like this at this point in the year that's widely available. As Matt mentioned, he's, been banged up. He had a finger, he had a heel, he had plantar fascia last year, he had a strained back. It's been a long 2 years for Kris Bryant, but let's hope that he's healthy and let's hope that he can contribute here down the stretch. I think there's a strong chance that he does. Let's keep things pushing, though. Let's talk about this next guy, and this next young guy has been on an absolute tear since he got the call, and it's big Ronnie Mauricio, 6'3", 170 pounds. He's got to put a little more muscle on if you ask me. But you know what? The stats wouldn't even tell you that. But so far, he's 11 for 36, batting .306, 2 runs, a homer, 5 RBIs, and he's already stolen 4 bases. And at the moment, he's a little bit sick. That stuff is going back around, a little bit of the vid. So I don't know if he has that, but it is going back around. So he might be. But I think he's going to be back sooner than later. He is currently eligible at 2nd and short on Yahoo. He's only 24% owned. And this is another guy. The speed is there. Batting average is there. I think the power is going to come along with it. like with Jason Dominguez before he got hurt, there's not a lot of time for pitchers to adjust to these young bats that are getting called up. So I think Ronnie Mauricio is definitely a guy you can ride out the rest of the way, and he's going to contribute pretty solidly, especially in speed, batting average. And once again, I think that power really steps up too.
Oh yeah, no, the possibilities are limitless right now, especially to end out the season. I think Mauricio can possibly be one of those league-winning ads right now, almost as much as this next guy here, and that's Logan O'Hoppe. I had a bunch of you guys asking, should I drop Murphy today? And I think the answer is yes, and you drop him for Logan O'Hoppe. Logan O'Hoppe has just been mashing the ball since his return. And quite honestly, this is exactly what we were waiting for and talking about at the beginning of the season before he went down with that long stint on the IL. I mean, shoot, this week alone, 5 runs, 4 bombs, 7 ribs, batting .304. Okay. He's just mutilating the ball. Like, that's your 23 at bats. He's getting on the groove. He's getting moving and grooving, man. You need to add him now before he gets picked up. He's 16% owned. Okay. If you have a catcher that is not doing the job, then just get rid of him. Who cares? Ride the heater now. Okay. Pick up anybody who's on a heater and just get the job done, get the championship, and screw the lineup. All rules go out the window at this point. It's now just ride the hot hand and go. And Logan O'Hoppe, boy, he's got a hot bat right now.
Yeah, Matt, great take on O'Hoppe. We loved him coming into the year, but he did tear the labrum in his shoulder. And it's so awesome to see O'Hoppe coming back and hitting for power after the shoulder issue. A lot of times guys go out with a shoulder. Shoulder's like a complicated muscle. So, it's good to see that power is still there with O'Hoppe. I think he's going to be a top 12 catcher going into next year in my book. For the rest of the way, he's hitting 4th in that Angels lineup, which isn't great with that, especially without Ohtani and without Trout. But I think O'Hoppe is going to contribute very, very well down the stretch here. And yeah, Matt, I think I agree. It's safe to drop Sean Murphy at the moment and pick up guys like O'Hoppe or Garver or whoever's still out there in your league. Let's move on to someone that's unexpected. And this time of year, it's kind of just pick them up while they're hot, ride the heaters, and, get yourself that championship. It's our old pal Tommy Pham. And if you've played fantasy at all over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you know the name. You know what he's capable of. He's been hitting 3rd in that Arizona Diamondback lineup, which is very good. Over the last 2 weeks for Tommy Pham, he's 15 for 51, which is good for a .294 batting average, 9 runs, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 2 steals. And just ride the heater with Tommy Pham, only 34% owned. We're giving you guys some quality names. He's even 1 for 1 today with the steal. He has 3 steals in his last 4 games. I like what Tommy Pham can do. He's getting a little bit older, but you know what? If he's still out there getting it done, it's the time of year. Just pick him up and ride the wave. But before Matt jumps in here and gives his take on Tommy Pham, we got, one more bat after that. Then we're going to get into some pitchers. One that has got the Ric Flair in him. We got a couple of Angels pitchers, and then we have a couple of closers.
Yep. For championship teams, it's all about making sure every player is the perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay's guaranteed fit, you can be sure that every part needs fit. Every part needs to fit just right. The first time around, just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check next to your part, and you will, or if it doesn't fit, you'll get your money right back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. And when you shop eBay Motors, that's the same. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home the W when you have the right parts and they're guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fits, and the right prices on ebaymotor.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions may apply. All right. Dear everydayers and new listeners, we have an incredible opportunity for you guys to support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks along the way. Introducing our Diamond Club on Subtext. Become a member, and you not only contribute to the show success, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. Get your hands on waiver wire rankings, call-up alerts, injury alerts, instant reactions, and direct access to for all of your burning fantasy questions. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the absolute world to us, and we can't wait to connect with you on this exciting journey to the championship. Join our Diamond Club today on Subtext. Today, and let's take your fantasy experience to new heights. So, guys, please do. It's the perfect time to join. Ask us all the questions you humanly possibly can to get that dub, get that championship, and then hopefully stick around for the off season where we're going to start bringing in our rankings. Dom's almost done with his, hopefully. Mine, you're going to have to wait a couple months. And there's other things going in, early bust lists, sleeper lists, bounce backs, breakouts, pitcher hidden gems, all this early stuff. You're probably going to get just a tease and a taste in the offseason on the podcast. We're going to be able to get the full, extensive, long list here on the subtext, the Diamond Club. But all right, enough. I know I've jingle jangled and jumbled all around this. Let's talk about Tommy Pham. So Tommy Pham right now, truthfully, again, there's no rules right now. He's riding the heater. If you remember what he was doing in the middle of the season when he was on a heater again, uh, he was awesome. Honestly, he was really looking great. And honestly, you picked him up until he flared out. So I think this is the same thing. So just pick him up, get the W, and just move on. And then when he starts flaring off, see you later. All right, let's talk about Willie Castro. Um, the Swiss Army knife himself, one of the many. Second base, third base, shortstop, outfield. You're missing like manager, catcher, first base, camera.
Bat boy.
Yeah, bat boy. Like you're missing everything. But anyway, Castro has been solid over this last week with 5 runs, 2 bombs, 3 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting 350. He's another one. He's on a heater right now, 33% owned. Everybody can use a guy that has a multitude of positions where he could fit in, especially let's see here real quick. So tomorrow is the 14th. Today for you guys, unfortunately, we should have probably did this the day before for this advice, but if you have same day ads, Willie Castro is going to be somebody that's playing tomorrow when a lot of teams have breaks. So it's a big off day, and that's the time of the day, time of the week where if you're on the other end where you have like 4 guys going and the other team has 6 or 7, that can honestly lose you the week. So Willie Castro should be added just based off of that, just for the day rental, let alone he could help you out for the rest of the week. He's going up against the White Sox. So the White Sox pretty much just have nobody. So it really is a nice matchup going in for the weekend. So Willie Castro is a must add.
Yeah, man. As you talking about Willie Castro, I actually have some like breaking news that it's actually really bad news for fantasy baseball. Sandy Alcantara was diagnosed with a UCL sprain. Miami Marlins manager Skip Schumacher really did not comment. He's non-committal if he'll pitch again this year, but with the UCL sprain, I really don't see that happening. Just looks bad year for Sandy, and the drama continues with him going into next year. I wish him the best, but this is just not looking good for Sandy. But
explains everything in his performance this year. He was probably pitching through it for most of the year. Man.
Yeah, I would assume so. So very uncharacteristic of Sandy here.
Low key, probably the cheapest you're going to be able to get him next year. So honestly, trade 4 if you're in a dynasty league, and somebody you're going to target and get nice and cheap because he's not going to be a top 5 pitcher in the draft season next year.
Yeah, I don't want to deep dive into it too much, but I don't know, man. I'm before if it was me before I make that trade, I'd want to see a little bit more information. If you could trade him, if you can get him for absolutely nothing, yeah, sure. But I'm not giving up anything of significance right now because this is just an interesting case, and it's literally just breaking coming through. Literally, as I clicked, it was breaking news. But with Willie Castro, Matt, great take on him. I don't really have too much to add. He's 33% owned. As you mentioned, Swiss Army knife, second, third, short, and outfield. He's been hitting at the end of the lineup. I liked it, but he was hitting 9th for a while. I like when he hits 9th because the runs are good. He has 31 steals on the year, which is awesome, so he's got some speed. But, Matt, great take. We're just going to leave it there. Willie Castro, if you need just one guy on your bench that's going to fill in for multiple people, pick him up. Let's move on to the arms here. And, man, a guy we've been preaching about, Mr. Bryan. Woo! I said he's got that Ric Flair in him, man. He went down. He was dealing with a little bit of a forearm inflammation. So, you never like to hear that. But you know what? This kid comes out against the Angels, which, Angels aren't a great team right now, but you got to get the job done. 5.2 innings in his return. He got the win. Mr. Bryan with the 8 strikeouts, no earned runs, and a 0.71 whip. So he looked absolutely great. And this is more of a next week move. Sometimes you got to be preemptive. If you have the aspirations to, get to the championship. Wu was 32% owned. He gets Oakland next week on, I believe it's Monday or Tuesday. So you definitely want to grab Bryan Wu if you're going to be out there next week. If you have that feeling you're going to be out there, get him on your team now. The kid's been absolutely great this year. I like the stuff. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of a young Brandon Woodruff, where he kind of has the similar pitch mix. He just looks really good. He throws a lot of strikes. I really think he's going to be somebody that I'm high on going into next year as hopefully a sneaky number 6 starting pitcher. But I love Bryan. We'll pick him up.
Yeah, no, great take, Dom. Honestly, Wu has some nice upside, definitely for next year. It's exciting, really is. But yeah, great take. I don't think I need to add anything else on that one. I'm going to move on. Let's talk about the meters running. Reed Detmers himself. Detmers has been, decent in his last 3 starts. Went up against Philly, got hit around a little bit, but a 4.5 ERA isn't something that's gonna steer me away. Handled Baltimore just fine with a 1.35 ERA through 6 innings and 5 Ks, and handled Seattle on the 11th on Monday. And only had a 3.86 ERA. Now getting Detroit on Sunday, which I love that. So how you doing? This is going to be another great matchup for Detmers, and I'm trying to get up who he's going to probably pitch against next week, since if you're in that position to start thinking about next week, you're already up. And honestly, you always, yeah. Who again?
I said I could check.
Thank you. I think that Detmers is somebody that could. It looks like he might have a nice matchup, because I see the Twins. Hopefully, no, it's going to be the Rangers. Never mind. So this week,
he's going to get the Twins. He's going to get the Twins.
So Twins are still hot. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather roll him out there than versus the Rangers 100%. That's more of just one of those let me see what kind of position I'm in a couple days. What day is he pitching next week? Wednesday?
He is pitching on the 23rd, which I'm not sure what day of the week that's going to wind up on.
I'll tell you in 30 seconds. So it's 10 days from now. So next Saturday. Oh, that's great. So you'll know whether you need to start him or not next weekend. And if so, just hang on to him. And then, hey, if it's starting to look a little grim and you need to save your ERA, don't start Detmers. But if you're in a good spot and you just need to get a QS or a couple points or whatever, or Ks, Detmers can be the answer at the end of the weekend. So Detmers is, for once, not a weak rental on this. So definitely add the meter and let Reed Detmers lead you to that victory.
Yeah, just Matt, great take. I'm just starting him for those next couple of starts. Hopefully takes it to the promised land. Not too much. We talked about Demeter all year. We were high on him coming into the year. He really didn't live up to the hype. He's been playing around with the velocity on his slider, and he's been going up and down with it. It seems he's had a little bit more success when he's not hitting 89, 90 miles an hour on that slider, and he's keeping it more 87-ish to go with that 95 mile an hour fastball. That separation seems to be helping him a bit. So I'm riding out 32% owned with Detmers. Just pick him up and see where this thing goes. I don't think he's gonna kill you. He did have a couple of blow up starts, on the 11th and the 4th of August. Seems like he's removed from it, but this point of year, you're not going to find many streamers that are truly, truly going to help you. And Reed Detmers is one of those guys that can really get you some big strikeouts and limit runs. Let's move on to his teammate. Let's talk about Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning's another guy that, I really like him. I like the stuff is there. The talent's there. He just has to put it all together. Same thing with his teammate Detmers. But, Canning's been good of late. He's, another guy, looks like he's going to line up for Detroit and Minnesota. So, his next 2 starts look pretty good. His last start was not great against Cleveland, but before that, you're talking about he went up against Oakland, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, a couple of earned, 0.67 whip. You got the Mets before that, 7 innings, 9 Ks, gave up 1 run, 0.86 whip. He pitched good against Tampa Bay in short relief. Got rocked against Texas, but before that, Detroit, who he's going up against, gave up a couple of runs, 8 strikeouts, and a 140 whip. So Griffin Canning is kind of like a Reed Detmers light, where the control isn't really great, so the whip might be a little high, but he does have good strikeout opportunity, and I don't think he's going to kill you in the earned run department. 31% owned for Griffin Canning. Another guy, just ride him into the fantasy baseball championship. Not a lot of great pitchers out there. Griffin Canning can help you.
Yeah, no, I like the take, Dom. I wish Griffin Canning would just put it together for a full season, not just a
It would
couple
be
starts.
fantastic. It would be
He
fantastic.
he absolutely would, but that's pretty much all I got on him. And before I move on, we talk about two closers. Dom has somebody special we need to talk about.
Yep, I sure do, Matt. And everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers the Jace Case. The Jace Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you're not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency and that you actually have it. Jace Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand right away. Jace Medical is very simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to the licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using the code LOCKEDON when you check out at jacemedical.com. Once again, that's JASE medical.com, and use the promo code LOCKEDON to save those $20 off. All right, guys, let's hop back in here and wrap things up after we get these couple of closers off the way for you. Let's talk about Adam Ottavino. And I really don't know why he's not more highly owned at this point. He's taken over the closer's job with the Mets, only 34% owned on the year. Great numbers, 57 innings, 1 win, 10 saves, 55 strikeouts, 2.97 ERA, and a 1.14 whip. Adam Ottavino, closer experience before in the past. Just a great closer to go out there and get. I know the Mets aren't great, but that's also an opportunity where a team that's not great that has a strong closer, the games they do win are usually going to be pretty close. A lot of save opportunities for him. He's got 2 saves over the last 3 games, not including today. And there's a chance that he gets a save today too, it looks like, because the Mets are up 4-0. Just Arizona's got to throw in a run there, and then Ottavino can get another one. I really like him. Not really too much to add here. 34% owned. Adam Ottavino closing for the Mets.
I didn't realize Gallon just kind of screwed it up there. Thanks for screwing the pooch, Gallon.
That's invested in his own teams right now, guys. We gotta bear with them.
Sorry. But yeah, Adam Ottavino probably getting it as long as Gallon don't give up any more runs and this game don't get close. So we'll see. Let's move on. Let's talk about Julian Merriweather, all right? Oh, man, sorry for my, blunt reaction.
Hey, Matt, we're all there. We're all there with you.
All right. So, Chicago Cubs reliever seems to have the job right now.
Alzolay went down. Just a heads up to everyone. He's going to be the replacement for Alzolay.
Okay. So, that's good to know. Mayweather has always been kind of like good when he gets the opportunity, and he fits all the makings of what I like in a closer. So that's over a K per 9, low ERA, and has the job. So, and the whip is not atrocious. So all the numbers, he's not going to get you inflated. He's not going to destroy you. And Cubs are winning games. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They're trying to get in there. So Merriweather is in a position where you can actually be very successful with this job. So honestly, I would add Merriweather almost everywhere if humanly possible, because I think he could be somebody that's going to be giving you a lot of value coming out of the closer's position this week.
Yeah, I love Julian Merriweather. Great take on him, Matt. He's 28% owned on Yahoo right now on the year. 65 innings. He has 90 strikeouts, which is great. 5 wins, 3.18 ERA, 1.28 whip. It's a little high for my liking. But, as Matt mentioned, Cubs are out there winning games, and it looks like he's going to be the guy the rest of the way. So go out there and pick up Julian Merriweather. He was back in the day with Toronto. They were looking at him to get close saves before Jordan Romano came along. But I really like the upside. The guy throws gas. He touches 100. Sits around 98 on average. His slider is also a very, very good pitch. So if you need a closer, probably taking Merriweather over Ottavino, but they're both very, very good options here down the stretch. And once again, you normally don't see a lot of closers out there, and they're both widely available. Once again, Merriweather 28% owned. Ottavino is a little over 30. So, that's everything we got for you today, Matt. We got a little extra time. Anything you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah. Honestly, I would add Since what do you call it went down? You talked about Kenley Jansen going down with the Coves. You
Yeah.
know, Merrifield is somebody you could add to replace him, but also it seems as of right now, is what I was reading, that Martin is the one that's behind him.
Is
That's
it
looking.
Chris Martin? Am
Yes,
I right?
Chris Martin.
It is Chris
Yes,
Martin.
is the one that's lined up to take the job for now while he's out on the Coves. So right now, he's performing really well with, over a K, right under a K per nine, but a 1.14 whip. I mean, ERA and a 1.01 whip. He's doing great, has great numbers, hasn't really been disappointing. So he's been solid. Somebody you could definitely add to get the replacement based off of the schedule and stuff. We'll see here. I mean, he's got the Spankies who have been up and down and look like they've been getting spanked a little bit more often. And then you got Toronto, another team that's been so up and down. It's a possibility that Boston kind of scraping, you might be able to get 2 saves over the weekend, and Martin might be the one that could do it for you. So really, it's just about it.
Yeah, Chris Martin, 14% owned Boston Red Sox, probably going to take over for Kenley Jansen for a while. But guys, just wanted to chime in, and we're at the end of the season here. We're in that final home stretch. If you got any questions, join Matt and I in subtext. We'll definitely get you the answers that you need. And just a big shout out to our everydayers, new listeners, for taking this journey with us. This is Matt and I's first year with Locked On, and we're very happy that Locked On gave us the opportunity and the platform to speak to you guys. And you guys have been here all year for us, especially we have a lot of fans that have really helped us grow and have said a lot of good things about us, and we appreciate all of that love, and we really feel it here at Locked On, man. It's been a wonderful year and a wonderful journey, and it just makes me genuinely happy. It's something that Matt and I have wanted to do. We absolutely love fantasy baseball. We're pretty good at it, and it's a blessing. Honestly, it's really a blessing. So that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, once again, thank you to our everydayers and listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And make sure you look out for a new episode tomorrow. Not 100% sure what we're going to talk about, but I guarantee it's going to be good and useful information as always. So guys, until tomorrow, see you.
Peace.